and welcome to Detroit Druidry and Divination. Today I would like to talk a little bit about this book and its purpose. So about 2 years ago, I contacted a lady who made books and asked her to make me a kind of special order. I didn't find anything specifically that would work for me on her site, and I will have a link to the site below. And so I asked her to make something that fit a little bit better my needs and my art style. And sure enough, she came back with this incredibly bound book. And it's very thick. It has watercolor pages, and they're kind of torn at the edges. I love that look. So I was thrilled. I was thrilled that she was able to design this for me. And so she sent it to me, and I paid for it, and it was not cheap, as you can imagine. So then it sat in my room, in this room with all my things, and I didn't know what to do with it. I knew it was for Druidry, but I didn't know what and how. So sure enough, the answer came soon, and I received one of my first packages from my ovate grade when I started at the beginning of the year. And in it was instructions on how to make your own Book of Shadows. And, well, I thought that was great. And I'm not so much a Book of Shadows person, I'm more a Book of Balance person. So I ended up calling it Book of Awen, because I feel like that represents everything I'm searching for, as we all are. So here it is, and this is going to be my walkthrough of my Book of Awen. And know that it is a work in progress. I am just not even the first quarter of the way through. But I did want to talk a little bit about it and introduce it so that I can do art projects in the future. So I am a very mixed media kind of artist. I like different designs, different interests, different mediums throughout the entire project. So I will do kind of a paper tear with ink around it, watercolor in the background, sometimes it's acrylic. This is actually cloth, I believe I got from Joann Fabrics, leaves, and then different words embedded. My symbol, and then my name up in Ogham. So here is the Druid Prayer for Peace, which is one of my most favorite things, as well as my sigil. So things that I would want in the very first page of opening my book that I would feel is powerful. Next is the title page. And so this is, again, where I would cut it, rip it out, and I inked the edges here so it looked torn and burnt, and then I embedded a blessing within the actual work. I feel like that gives it a lot of power, a lot of protection, and makes the book feel good all around. And then I usually in the bottom left-hand corner try to put the name of the blessing. So if you see that as we go, that's what the name means. So this is the blessing of the 4 realms. And so that was kind of what was embedded in my title page and what I felt was important. Throughout the book, I will have different sayings and things that I think are incredible. So this was one of my favorites, and so it's very much right up here in the front. So I'm just going to browse through here a little bit. I'll try not to spend too much time on it. This is the opening page, so this is where I ask for protection and blessing. It's kind of to unlock any of the energy that I want, any of its purpose within this book, whether that's blessing, intent, even spell work. This would be the area to unlock that. It says, unlock what is inside, connect from within, open inspiration, divination, and wisdom. And then it has the Awen symbol. And I do really feel like that's what Awen stands for me, the inspiration of the bard, the divination of the ovate, and the wisdom of the druid. So those are important things for me. And then you have, this is where my anchor stone goes, and then this is where the key from the Master of Ovates gave me. And those are these items right here. So that is a Super 7 stone, which is gorgeous, and there's a whole story to that someday remind me and I'll tell you of how I received that finally after almost a year of waiting. And then this is what to me represents spirit. So I will explain later how I use that. And so this is just the opening page. Danu, this is my vision of her always from the Druid Craft deck. And my blessing, my ask for a blessing, and then different art techniques that I used on this page. I have my page of thanks, which is a little personal. Then I have how to create sacred space, my altar, as well as my map to my sacred grove, which is something we really work hard on in the Bardic grade in OBOD. So I actually made a map for it. Since it's in my mind, I have walked these paths so many times, I thought I'd put it on paper. And so I kind of have a lift up here, and then I drew over it. And then I have the actual entrance to the grove. And again, it lifts up, and I'll have something cool under there at some point, a title page. These are actual seeds that are put into the page, and so that goes there. This is the description of my sacred grove, and I'd like to say at this moment, I did not write everything out, as some people do, but my writing is horrible, and if I got done putting all this time into things and just couldn't read it, I would be just distraught. So I did write out some of the intent and blessings, and you'll see those as we go along, but for the most part, I did both. I worked on typing and I worked on writing. And then here is my grove, and I use this as almost kind of a crystal grid. This is the top view of my grove if you walk in and go around west, north, and so forth. If you read Ogham, then you would know that these symbols mean different trees, and those trees have different meanings. So I could use this as a tarot spread or even a crystal grid. Again, that's where this comes in place. So spirit would go in the middle, and then I would work around it. So that's a little bit of why I created that, and this is all watercolor. Again, I'm not claiming to be an artist, but at the same time it works for me. The colors of the birch. I have the 3 different variations of willow. This would be hazelnut, yew, and then oak. This is the entrance to Druidry, the beginning page, and I have Brigid here and a blessing for her, the Druid's vow, and then a description of Druidry. And it goes through to kind of explain different aspects of Druidry. I have not filled all these in. I leave lots of space, although I did watercolor all of them, so they have kind of a tint in the background. And then I get to Awen. So if you look here, you can see that's how I know that's a beginning of a new section. So there's several pages here, and then this is a place that I wrote out an intent and a blessing and something that I would say, and that is in Scottish Gaelic. And then I have more pages of Awen, lots of pages of Awen. It goes into Nuifre again with that on the side, and I'll have lots of pages of that, different postures and exercises. And so here is where I have left off. I do plan on adding lots of new things, and I wanted to introduce the book that I have so far so that when I do start working on new artwork and new information, I'm not just coming in out of nowhere. You know why and where and how. Some of the things I plan on working on next is each of the grades of Druidry, the Bard, the Ovate, and Druid. I'm going to put in their symbol, my initiation, and what it means to be each of those, and different things that I worked on within that without giving away too many Bardic secrets or Ovate secrets. And then I'm going to kind of close it out with working with the Wheel of the Year, the elements, different animals, and then how to commune with trees. I'm sure there'll be much more that I'm going to be adding. This is just all I have right now. The index that I made, which is what I'm reading off of, is something I've redone several times. So definitely there will never be anything done completely. It will always be a work in progress. And I look forward to sharing that progress with you. So please let me know if you have any questions. I'd love to see pictures of your own I'd love for you to contact and say, hey, this is what I've done and this is what works for me. And any other new kind of artistic details or techniques, please share. So like and subscribe. Let me know how you're doing with your books and your projects. And I look forward to talking to you in the future. Thanks.